The NBA trade deadline is almost here, and the Bulls got ahead of the market by making a Zach Lavine deal on Sunday night. Welcome into a brand new edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Stacey King alongside, back from a road trip where the Bulls went 1-2. And obviously you saw the Lavine news. No secret that the Bulls have been trying to trade him for a long time, but the return they got back, 3 role player kind of guys, and basically getting their own pick back, not very impressive.
Well, I don't think it's impressive to anybody on the outside, but again, it was so hard to trade Zach. I mean, from the summer to now, there was really no market for him, and you almost basically have to give him away, and he's too good of a player to give away. At the same time, you've got some cap flexibility because you don't have to pay that 43,
right.
45 million that he's going to require you to pay. Nobody on the roster is making that kind of money, so that's a good situation for them to be in. And now it looks like they're going into a complete rebuild mode. I know probably should have been done a lot earlier. But at the same time, that now they don't have to worry about if they play and they go on a win streak, they get that play-in game. They don't have to worry about that pick going to San Antonio.
They own the pick now.
They own the pick, so they own the picks. So they can just hoop. They can just hoop. They can develop these younger kids. Now maybe you'll see Modest Buzelis play a lot more minutes going into the second half. There's like 32 games left. You really want to get a look if you're AK in the front office. You really want to get a look at these young kids. You want to see what you got. You got to see what your future is. How far are we from, being a complete rebuild, and how close are we to being pretty decent if we get a nice pick in next year's draft, one of the top 5 picks in the draft next year. You talk about a Cooper Flagg who's a game changer. You get him and you pair him up with Modest, and then you build around those two guys. I mean, if, would have, could have, it's all a gamble, but at least they're going to have a chance.
Yeah, I watched the Rutgers play last week, and Ace Bailey, who's kind of like a wild colt, he doesn't really understand how to play the game 100% yet, but physically, the kid is off the charts. I mean, you get the 3rd pick, you get Ace Bailey, that would be a really nice piece to go alongside Modest up front.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be that. This is going to be a deep draft. So, the top 10 pick guys are going to be guys that are going to be, they have a chance to be very special. It doesn't just start with Ace Bailey or Cooper Flagg. Ron Harper's son, Dylan Harper, is a legit player, 6'6" point guard.
Kid from Baylor's nice too. Edgecombe.
Yes, Edgecombe, VC Edgecombe is a very good player. So there's a lot of good players in this draft. You just got to hope if you're the Bulls, you get a top 3 pick.
Right.
That's what you got to get. You got to, they got to send somebody there to bring some luck, man. Seriously, because whoever the people they've been sitting and be getting like number 6 and 7 picks all the time. Man, go think outside the box this time, man. Think outside the box. Go grab somebody off the street that's buying hot dogs or something and send them.
Where's Steve Shanwell when we need him?
Yeah, send a fan.
Bring Steve back.
Bring Steve back. Send Joe O'Neal. Whatever, man. But let's just change it up, man. Get our luck changed a little bit.
One thing I want to clear up, I've seen a lot of people commenting on Twitter that, hey, the Bulls would have kept their pick this year anyway, but under terms of the trade, they don't owe San Antonio anything. A lot of people are confused thinking that if they didn't give them the pick this year, that the slate was wiped clean. No, they would have owed them a pick either in 26, top 8 protected,
top 8.
or 27, top 8 protected, and then it would have turned into a second round in 2028. So you would have had to go through 2 more years of this nonsense. Now they got that completely wiped off, and if they want to trade picks, they can trade any picks in the future years.
Yeah, and again, I think the main thing is moving off of Zach's contract. It had nothing to do with Zach the player.
Right.
It had more to do with Zach's contract, and now they're off that. I mean, I think he's owed over $100 million over the next few years, and that's a lot of money. But again, you have to pay your superstar players. You have to pay them what they're worth. Let's say Zach is in. He may not be a number 1 option on a lot of teams out there, but on the Bulls, he's a number 1 option. In order to keep your players and to keep your star players, you have to sometimes overpay them. Was Zach overpaid? Probably. He's overpaid, but he was your star player. The Bulls had to do it or they would have lost him. So, most of these teams, the teams that are struggling, Mark, are going to run into this problem where they have to overpay for a guy who may not be on the same level as a Luka or a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but he's our guy like that, and we have to pay him to keep him.
Want to remind our audience that we are taping the show on Monday afternoon. So if they trade Vooch on Monday evening, we don't know about it yet. We can't talk about it. We know about the Luka trade. We know about the Zach Lavine trade, and we're going to bring in Darnell Mayberry in a little bit from The Athletic. He'll tell us more about what the Bulls might have planned the next couple of days before the 2 p.m. Chicago time Thursday trade deadline. Let's briefly talk about the players they got back. Zach Collins is a former lottery pick, a 6'11" center forward who was really highly regarded coming into the league, but his career's kind of been set back by a lot of injuries. They got Trey Jones, who's a nice backup point guard, but we got too many guards. And they got Kevin Huerter, who was a guy that was considered a, above average shooter, but he's really been in a slump the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main piece out of all three of these is probably Kevin Huerter because the Bulls need shooters. They need outside shooters. This guy's a proven outside shooter. I know his 3-point percentage is not where it has always been, but again, his role has changed in Sacramento. He went from being a starter to coming off the bench. Mike Brown, he was in Mike Brown's doghouse a little bit, but the kid can flat out shoot. I remember him in Atlanta. He had some big games against us shooting a 3-ball, and the game is revolved around 3-point shooting. And the Bulls right now, Zach was their best 3-point shooter. Let's be real. Zach's their best 3-point shooter. He's gone now. And so when you start to look at who do they have left that can knock down threes and consistently, there's really not a guy out there. We have a bunch of streaky 3-point shooters. So, picking up a kid like Huerter is huge for the Bulls because he can make shots.
And I think Zach Collins is insurance if Vooch does get traded in the next couple of days, then you have a guy who could probably be your starting center at 6'11", and then Jalen Smith would come off the bench. Of course, you still have the two-way player, Adama Sanogo, but Collins, I think, it kind of is a tip-off that Vooch probably isn't going to be here much longer.
Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, Vooch still has a friendly contract. It's not like,
one more year.
He's got one more year on his deal, which he'll be much more attractive next year. There's some teams right now, like the Lakers, who are starving for a big man after they made the trade with Anthony Davis for Luka in Dallas. They have no bigs right now. He would be very, very attractive to them. Golden State had a chance. There was word that they were trying to trade for both Zach and Vooch, but they stalled the deal and didn't follow through on it. And then they wanted to go after Jimmy Butler instead. And then Jimmy basically told him, "I don't want to come there."
Play there, yeah.
So now you've lost Zach now because Zach now has gone to Sacramento. A team that's basically your rival, and you had a chance to get both him and Vooch that could have upgraded your roster to the point where, you could have been, contending or at least been a second round team with a possible chance to get to the finals in the Western Conference. And then, you help Steph. You give them a legitimate 2 new scorers that come in, a big that can shoot and post up, and a guard who's a dynamic scorer who can give you 25 to 30. So that would have really, really helped Steph Curry.
And one of the ironies of this trade is now you've got Zach going to Sacramento, a team that signed him to an offer sheet about 6-7 years ago, which the Bulls matched. And now he's once again paired with DeMar DeRozan, which really worked well the first year when they had Lonzo Ball, but then didn't work so well when Lonzo was out injured. How do you think that pairing is going to work again in Sacramento when you throw in Domantas Sabonis?
Well, I mean, I think Zach will fit in seamlessly. I think he's going to do the things that he does. I think he learned the first time, that second year playing with DeMar, that he deferred a lot to DeMar.
Yeah, he did.
I don't see him doing that now. I think he realizes his ability. I think he realizes that, hey, I'm just as good, and I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna play my game. I'm gonna come out. If shots are there, I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna be aggressive. He's gonna play with a really good, passing center in Sabonis, who does a good job. They're one of the best teams, Mark, at the dribble weave handoffs. Okay, Zach really thrives in that kind of game where he can get a handoff, basically a handoff screen, and be able to turn the corner, be able to catch and shoot. They're one of the best teams that do that. They rank in the top 5 as far as the dribble handoff, assists, the screen assists. He's going to have a lot of open shots playing with Sabonis. A little bit different in Vooch. Sabonis is probably a better passer, a better ball handler, and that will free up Zach too, because you have a guy that you have to worry about in Sabonis who can get a triple-double. You got to worry about DeMar. You got to worry about Malik Monk. I think the biggest concern with them right now is they have no point guard.
Right.
They have no point guard right now. They have a rookie I think is injured, but they have no point guards on the roster. They got rid of Davion Mitchell, who's in Toronto. Of course, Halliburton's in Indiana. So, they got rid of him. Fox is gone. So who plays the point guard? Malik Monk? Zach?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. And looking at that trade, the 3-team deal, San Antonio really got De'Aaron Fox for next to nothing. Yeah, they gave up a couple of late first-round draft picks, which they had about 7 or 8 of them, so that doesn't hurt them. The players they gave up were nondescript. They bring in a guy who averages 25 points a game, one of the fastest guards in the league, to pair with Wemby. It's going to be interesting because with the picks they have, San Antonio looks to me like they could be a rising power in the West in a couple of years.
Yeah, and he's going to be playing alongside Chris Paul this year, and he'll probably play off the ball, probably play two guard, and be able to score more. They'll probably turn him loose to be a scorer, but eventually he'll be the point guard of that team playing with Wemby. I think they all know it's Wemby's team. Everybody knows it's Wemby's team. So the Spurs are positioning themselves nicely. They're building their team. Stephon Castle, from UConn was a great pick. They're slowly building their team through the draft and obtaining good young talent. Fox is not even 30. Fox is like 27, 26, 27 years old. So, and a guy who's been in this league a long time, at 26. So you're getting an experienced point guard, an all-star caliber guard, one of the fastest guys in the end, and he's a great defensive player. He's a two-way guard. So kind of like Javonte Murray was for them, but probably a better scorer.
Yeah, they were able to keep their top draft pick, Stephon Castle, in that deal. They were able to keep Keldon Johnson. A lot of the good young guys they've drafted in the last couple of years are still on that San Antonio roster, so they're a team to watch. We're going to get back to the Bulls in just a minute with Darnell Mayberry, but I do want to get initial thoughts on the blockbuster. I was sitting watching TV on Saturday night, and all of a sudden I see this Luka thing, and I'm like, is this real? You want to make sure this wasn't a joke.
I thought it was that NBA Centel or whatever it is. They always have the fake stuff.
Right.
So I was really hesitant to even say anything about it.
Yeah.
But then I saw where it was real, and I couldn't believe it. I'm going to tell you right now, man. If David Stern was alive, that trade would be vetoed. He's probably somewhere right now just rolling over in his grave right now. That trade would have been vetoed. If they didn't let Chris Paul go play with Kobe in Los Angeles, do you think for a second he would have let Luka go to play in the Lakers to play with LeBron James? Again, the Lakers are always involved in these superstar trades, and it's starting to become a regular occurrence now. You go back to Wilt Chamberlain coming there, Shaq coming there, Kareem coming there.
Paul Gasol.
Paul Gasol. You just go right on down. They always get the main guys.
And Nico Harrison said the Lakers were the only team he talked to for a five-time first-team All-NBA guy.
Here's if I'm a Mavericks fan, I'm pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pissed off because, listen, first of all, this kid's 25 years old.
Yeah.
He's a top 3 player in this league.
Yep.
He is going to be the face of the NBA in probably a few years when LeBron is done playing, if not sooner. He's all NBA 5 times, okay? And he's 25 years old. You want to sit up there and say, why don't you just be honest and say, listen, we didn't want to have to pay the supermax to this guy. Don't make it sound like he's out of shape and he's 270 pounds. Because let me tell you something. I saw a picture of him get off that plane yesterday. Unless he was walking around with the infamous James Harden fat suit, he didn't look like he was no damn 270.
Right.
He looked like he was ready to play.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like he was ready. When he got off that plane, Mark, he looked like he was ready to go.
And he and LeBron are friends. That's going to work.
And here's what's going to happen. They done pissed Luka off now.
Yeah.
So, Dallas, thank you very much because y'all done released the dragon. Because every time he play y'all, he's going to try to drop 70 on you.
Yeah.
He's going to go after everybody in the league now. He's going to be like, he's got a boulder on his shoulder because he was tremendously hurt by this trade. He did not want to leave Dallas. He just built a home there, $15 million home. Yeah. He's entrenched in the community. If Mark Cuban is in the controlling interest of that team, that trade never happens. So he sold the controlling rights to his team. So he's no longer in the decision making. His word is not the final word anymore. Someone else makes that decision. And so I was watching a press conference today with Harrison and Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd looked like a dead man walking.
Oh yeah, he didn't say much of anything.
He was like, he was just sitting there like I can only imagine the thoughts that were going through Jason Kidd's head when he was sitting there not saying anything. He was like, this idiot. How in the hell did he do this? Why would you trade a franchise player? And not take anything away from AD. If this would have been 5-10 years ago, well, great trade. Okay? Well, Luka's been a teenager, so it would have been a great trade. But he's injured, often injured. He's 32 years old. He's got a lot of wear and tear on his body. In the short term, Dallas has a better roster right now. In the short term, do they have enough to come out of the Western Conference and beat a Denver, to beat Oklahoma City? I don't think so. They got a nice roster, though, because you're pairing AD up with Kyrie Irving, which is a good pairing.
You got the two bigs.
You got the two bigs now. Now you can move AD to 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he wants to be anyway. And then you got a nice bench. You got,
PJ
Washington coming off the bench. You got Gafford or Lively, whoever the bigs.
Klay Thompson
starting. So, you got in the short term, But you're not judging. You're not judging that trade by short term.
Luka's going to be a star for the next 10 years.
For the next 10 years, he's going to be a top 5 player in this league. Yeah. And so, why not call other teams?
Right.
Why not? Listen, if Rudy Gobert's non-scoring ass can get 5 first-round picks, 3 or 4 unprotected first-round picks, and 5 players, you're telling me that a 25-year-old just walking into his prime, you can't get more than that.
Donovan Mitchell got 4. DeJounte Murray got 4. I mean, what are you doing?
Man, I'm telling you right now. See, look, that's what I said today. Did they even contact other teams and see what they could get for him? Yeah. See, getting a 32-year-old Rudy Gobert, a 32-year-old Rudy Gobert who cannot score, who can't even be in the game in the fourth quarter if the game is on the line. He got 5 first and 5 players. Yeah. And the first 3 or 4 of those were unprotected picks.
Yeah.
You telling me you couldn't – Luka would have garnished a king's ransom.
Yeah.
You would have been like Oklahoma City. You would have had a vault full of first-round picks. You would have had like 10 first-round picks. You would have had some really good young players. You didn't even attempt to go do that. And if I'm a Mavs fan, that's what I'm upset about.
Yeah, and the thing is, Nico Harrison used to work for Nike, and he was tight with AD because he was like his guy, his handler with Nike. So this was a personal thing. He wanted Anthony Davis. You can't do that as a professional general manager of an NBA team. Let your personal feelings interfere with running a franchise.
And you let Rob Pelinka
off
the hook.
Yeah.
You let him come in there. He didn't just come in with a mask on his face and rob the bank. He came in where he actually looked at the camera and go, "We got a sucker.
Yeah.
We got him." Okay? So when he comes in there and tells you, "Hey, we got Anthony Davis, we're looking, we got Luka on the market. What do you guys got?" Wait a minute, are you serious?
Yeah.
Because at first he probably called and say, what is it going to take to get Anthony Davis? Nothing?
Yeah, we're not trading him.
We're not trading him.
Yeah.
What about Luka? Wait, hold on, excuse me. What? What'd you say? Luka? What do you want for Luka?
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony Davis in the first round. Is he drunk? Is he drunk right now? Smoking weed? Stay off the weed.
Yeah.
So then
let's call the league. Let's get this done.
So Rob Pelinka like, hold, let me put you on hold. Get the paperwork. Get it done. Get Jeannie Buss in there right now. We're going to make this deal right now before he changes his mind and he gets sober.
That's why they announced it so late, because they want to let him sleep on it.
But I will say this, though. I will say this, and I have a lot. I think this is what really happened, too. The owners had something to do with that. Because, listen, the owners, at the end of the day, Mark, you are not – because they're putting this smear campaign against the kid right now.
Big time.
Oh, he's drinking the beers. He's out of shape. He's 270 pounds. To try to justify why they made this move.
Yeah, remember, Mark Cuban's not the majority owner anymore. He just has a small stake in it.
It's a small stake. So they put out this, put out kind of a little smear campaign to make his character look bad, okay? Instead of just saying, hey, look, here's the deal. We don't want to pay $350 million on, because you think about this, Mark. This is what people don't think about. When he signs this 5-year deal, okay, he'll just be turning 30.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're talking about a supermax 350. What comes after that?
Might be $700 million.
Exactly. What comes after that? You talking the baseball Tony money.
Shohei Ohtani,
Yeah, you talking that kind of money, because he'll be just ending that contract about 30 years old.
Yeah.
And the way he's playing right now, I mean, you got to figure he's still going to be a great player at 30, okay? So you talk about 350 now, you talk about 750, 800 million.
Hey, it's the LA market. Stars sell, and they're gonna have a star.
They can
do
it. They can afford it.
Decade in Luka Doncic. Hey, we got Darnell Mayberry waiting in the waiting room, so I want to keep him any longer. But first, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, our good friend Jeff Vukovich. When it comes to being treated like royalty for all your insurance needs, auto, home, and business, make sure to contact our guy. He's the best in the business, Jeff Vukovich. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com, jeffvuk.com. The phone number, 847-825-4783. Stacy's back from the road, and I'm sure he's got another jingle left in him.
We're running out, Mark. We're running out right now. Nationwide is on your side.
Nicely done on trade deadline week. Darnell Mayberry is next. We'll get his insight on what the Bulls may have cooking up before Thursday's 2 p.m. trade deadline. We're back on Gimme the Hot Sauce. It's now our pleasure to welcome in the outstanding Bulls beat writer for The Athletic, Darnell Mayberry, kind enough to take a few minutes. He's floated in from planets far away. If you're watching on YouTube, he's got the clouds or something going on in the background. But you look good anyway, Darnell. And I know it's a very busy time for you, so we appreciate you joining us. I guess let's start with the move that's been made. Zach Lavine going to Sacramento in a 3-team deal. We knew that the Bulls have been trying for the last couple of years to move that contract. What do you think about the return they got back for Zach?
It's not great, but it's not horrible. And I think because they've tried to move him for so many years, you can't be mad at the haul that they got back. I mean, they regained their draft pick, which you can criticize and say they were going to get or keep anyway. But they got off of Zach Lavine's final 2 years of his contract, and now they're able to move in a different direction with a fresh start. And I think that in and of itself is a huge deal for this franchise right now. And not to mention, our John Hollinger reported that they get a $26 million trade exception, which is could be huge if they use it to acquire a different player without having to give up assets.
Well, it looks now that they're content on going into the youth movement, and I don't want to say tanking. Tanking's it's a terrible word, but it just looks like they're in the rebuild mode. Like they're going strictly into the rebuild mode. Does this mean that they're going to really focus on playing these younger guys, Bucelis, and start giving these guys minutes the last 30, 32 games of the season to see what they have and see, which of these guys they want to, build a future with?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for a guy like Modest to go in there and really prove himself. Not just that he's confident and fearless and things like that and tough, but he can go out there and really pay attention to the game plan, pay attention to his assignment, and know where he's supposed to be on the court, defensive positions, rotations, things like that, and prove to Billy Donovan and the coaching staff that he deserves minutes. We all know that the kid has talent, but can he do the things, as you know, Stacey, at this level that it takes to get consistent minutes as a young player? And so those are the things I'm looking for from Modest. But the Bulls don't have a choice anymore. They got to play these young guys.
I know that you and the other beat guys have reported that AK and Mark Eversley aren't done. They've got things they'd like to get done. We want to remind everyone watching or listening that we're taping this on Monday afternoon, so still 72 hours to go before the trade deadline. They've been shopping Vooch. I think they'd probably move Kobe White or Io in the right deal because they're so glutted with guards in the backcourt. What do you anticipate AK being able to accomplish before Thursday at 2 p.m.?
Mark, I would be shocked if they moved Kobe, again, a name you just mentioned, just because, early in the season, at the start of the season, I was told and adamantly that the Bulls were against trading Kobe White. I think a lot has changed, obviously, since the start of the season. But, if you're looking at rebuilding around Kobe and Io and Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, those guys, I mean, you still need a star in here, which is why I think it's great that they at least regain control of that draft pick, and you can maybe use that to move up in the draft or go out and get some additional draft capital using these other guys, these young players you have now. So as long as the Bulls focus, I think, is on the future and moving forward in a healthy, positive, sensible way, I think the Bulls will be taking steps in the right direction.
Okay, so now the next dilemma for them in the offseason is Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is gonna, he wants a certain amount of money. He wants star money. And so you just paid Patrick Williams, $90 million, for the 4 or 5 years that he signed. And Josh Giddey's probably looking at that going, wait a minute, I've got more production than this guy. So I know I got to be worried because I've heard, somewhere between 25 and 30 a year he's going to be asking for, which I don't think he would get that on the open market. And, he's under restricted free agency where the Bulls could say, hey, look, you know what? You go out there and see what you can get. And if we feel like we can, match it, we'll do it. If it's too high, too steep for us, then we'll move on from that. But, the restricted free agency has got to be their friend. And it probably should have been their friend with Patrick Williams as well. And I think that situation would have been a little bit different had they let him go out there and see what he could get on the open market. Now, you don't want to make that same mistake twice by just bidding against yourself.
Right. And I think that's what we'll see them do with Josh Giddey. There's no sense in giving him a contract without letting the market dictate the terms of that contract. And so the Bulls, what my fear is, Stacey, is that they have yet to show us that they have the ability to cut their losses. And instead of cutting them early, they double down and somehow make them worse. We've seen that. Zach Lavine, I said earlier, he earned that maximum allowable contract, but I think we all knew that he wasn't the number one guy to lead a franchise to a championship caliber season. And so you're looking at that again with Josh Giddey, and not just Josh, but Kobe White as well, who they're going to have to make a decision on a year later. And so those are decisions that I think the front office has to be more forward thinking with instead of reactive. They got to be more aggressive on the front end to make sure that these things don't become mistakes.
I guess the question a lot of Bulls fans have, Darnell, is AK the right guy to lead this rebuild? As you mentioned, he's made mistakes in terms of drafting, doubling down on mistakes in terms of the Patrick Williams contract. If you're going to go a new direction, is he the right guy to do this because he's made mistakes along the way?
Mark, I think most Bulls fans would call me everything but a child of God if I said he is the right guy at this point. But, you have to give him credit for the moves that he made to get this team in position to be competitive. Everyone's tired of hearing about Lonzo Ball and what didn't work with that, but this team was number one in the East for a while. We all remember, and so he showed the ability that he can make these aggressive moves. For a while, we were talking about the Bulls didn't do anything; they didn't make these moves, and then AK came in and showed a pulse that he was going to be aggressive. And then he just stopped for 3 years trying to give this group a chance to get continuity, to get healthy, to make it work. And it didn't work. And so if they can get some draft capital, some salary cap space, and make some better decisions in the draft, I think you got to see what he can do a second go around now that the first time clearly is over.
Yeah, I look at it like he came in swinging for the fences. Like he wanted to win right away, and the players that he brought in gave him that chance to win right away. And again, we can sit up here, would have, could have, should have. Zoe goes down, it's a totally different team. Totally different team for the next 2 years that he was out. And, I think that's where AK kind of got off track a little bit because he was so stuck in like, okay, I believe in these guys. He had more confidence in these guys than they probably had in themselves. He wanted this team to do well. He wanted this team to win well, especially when you went out and made these moves. I think any general manager in that situation, if you went out and got a DeMar DeRozan, you went out and got a Vooch, you went out, you traded, Lowry to get these guys and Lonzo Ball, you try to get him, and then you finally get him because they couldn't get him on the trade deadline. Then they ended up bringing him in that summer. So now you got all the pieces with Zach Lavine to make a legitimate run, which they started to. They were one of the best teams in the league before he went out. And then all hell breaks loose with the injury. Now, I would say this, that maybe AK should have pulled the trigger on some things earlier instead of saying like, oh, I'm going to let this play out a little bit. Because no one knew what Zoe, I don't even think they thought Zoe was coming back. That's why you go out and go get Giddey. That's why you trade, Caruso to get Giddey, because you're looking at your future. Like, wait a minute, we invested, a lot of money into Zoe. He's been out almost 2.5 years. We don't know what his situation is. We're kind of hurting at the guard spot. Now this kid comes available. Now you bring him on here. Now you got another dilemma because you got a team full of point guards. I mean, you can't play every one of these guys at the point guard position. They've got to make a choice. If this guy is my number one guy at point guard, whether it be Zoe, whether it be Giddey, because those, right, in my opinion, those two are the best point guard candidates on this team. Everybody else is a combo guard. Everybody else is a scoring guard. Those two guys, you have to make a decision on which one of those guys you want to keep, which one of those guys are worth keeping, and you want to spend your money on. That's what I think. That's just me being an armchair point guard.
Stacey, I hope they don't keep them both. At this point, what is the point of keeping them both? I mean, you would have to pay both players. They both can't, I don't think, excel together. I mean, Josh needs time or he needs a new environment. And Lonzo is trying to work his way back. He can't keep playing, 20, 25 minutes a night. And so if you can keep Lonzo Ball as your starting point guard and he's available to play 30 minutes eventually, maybe he's your better option in terms of team building because he's going to be much cheaper in all likelihood.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
And he plays defense.
And he plays both ways. And he does the same things that Josh does.
But that needs a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, but you don't know that. I mean, he's came up. He's playing 28, almost 30 minutes a night. He doesn't look like I'm watching him every single night. I don't see one single limp. I don't see him
and he can shoot it.
And he can shoot the ball. But I'm watching him very closely when he's on the floor. I see no hesitation on any kind of change of direction. I see no hesitation on any kind of quick twitch, movement in that knee. I never see him favor it. Now, I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know how much ice and how much treatment he's getting on his knee, but I do know on that court, he looks healthy to me. Defensively, he's their best option on the floor defensively on every single night. Plus, minus, he's the best plus guy on the team. And when you talk about analytics, because everybody likes to talk about analytics, the scoring and all this, when you look at the two best defensive players on the team is Zoe and Modest. Those two are your two best, and I would throw Io out there as well. But as far as the numbers are concerned, when you do the metric system, Zoe is your best defender out there at the point guard position, and Modest is probably your best big defensive player.
And how crazy is that about Lonzo? The guy misses 2.5 seasons, and he comes back, and he's probably your most impactful player. And maybe not even probably, like you just said. You look at the statistics, he is. Yes. I mean, you look at the plus minus, you look at the impact that he has defensively in the team concept. He is the Bulls' most impactful player, and that is amazing to say for a guy who we thought whose career might have been over.
Anybody who knows me, I've been in the Chicago media forever. I'm older than dirt, and I've always been the nice guy. But you guys are forcing me to be the bad guy here because you're making excuses, and the team has struggled badly over the last couple of years, stuck in the middle. I know this trade with Zach frees up some cap space. You get your pick back. I get all that. But as Darnell, as you mentioned earlier, stars win in the NBA. They're not close to having a star. We hope Modest is going to be really good in a couple of years. Maybe he will be a big-time star. But they've got to find a way to get a star, and free agency has not been kind to the Bulls. How do they get out of this mess?
I will say, Mark, they're closer today than they were yesterday because of that trade. I mean, being able to manage their own pick and have control of that, I think, is going to be huge in terms of helping them land a star, whether it's in this draft or whether it's using that to trade. And you bring up a great point. Is Arturas Karnisovas the right man to even make the draft selection? That's a fair question after these last several drafts. And so we're going to see in June, but the fact that the Bulls have the opportunity, I think is huge. The fact that they have a new direction where they can go out and be more aggressive now instead of being handicapped, I think that's a lot better than what they had before this Zach Lavine trade.
Well, and I'm one of these people because I've seen what Cleveland's done. I've seen what Detroit has done. I've seen what Orlando has done. Okay, I've watched them over the last 3-4 years get their butts kicked on a nightly basis with young talent and develop those young talent. And then when they feel like, okay, they've got 3 years of experience under their belt now, let's go get some quality veterans to put on this team to help them ascend to the next level. You look at Detroit, you go out and get a Beasley. You go out and get Tobias Harris. You put some really quality veterans around this Detroit team. Remember, they set the record last year of losses.
Yeah.
And then and I've been calling it for 2 years. I said, listen, they're hurting right now. They're getting their butts kicked right now. But you can tell that young team had some superior talent. Okay? Same thing with Orlando. They was getting their butts kicked. And then all of a sudden they turned it around. The Bulls have got to take that approach. We're going to get our butts kicked. We're going to get our butts kicked, but we're going to develop our young kids, and then they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Fans are going to come out and see them because they're going to hustle. They're going to dive on the floor. They're going to play good, solid basketball, and then we'll be appealing to a guy like Giannis or someone when you heard him yesterday, all European players need to be in a big city, okay? He wasn't just talking like out of the side of his neck. He was being serious about that, but it came off as a joke. Don't think for a second that when his contract is up, that he might just demand, say, I'm going to go to Chicago.
Might be this summer.
It can happen. It can happen. So you never know. So that's why I said the Bulls got to take the same approach. Listen, I'm just an armchair point guard. Don't listen to me, but I do know the game. And I saw how it works, and I see how it works with young teams. These young teams went out there and they got their butts kicked for 2 or 3 years. They're challenging for the lost record, and then all of a sudden they got experience. And then they added the right veterans and then the right coach to take them to the next level. And now you see the rewards of that. Detroit's going to make the playoffs. They're not going to be a play-in team. They're going to be a legit playoff team. And you know what? Cleveland's got a chance to come out of the East. No one's even talking about how well they're playing. They are playing extremely well, and they can challenge Boston and anybody else here in the Eastern Conference and come out and get to the finals this year.
Yeah, Stacey, I would throw. You mentioned Detroit and Orlando, how they did it. I would throw Oklahoma City to a
Yep.
lesser degree in there, and then Houston,
Yeah.
obviously, with
Yes.
what they've been doing this season. So you see the blueprint. And what I don't like is that I've heard from the Bulls front office and some of the players they have there that they sort of turn their nose up at Detroit. Detroit, the way that they rebuilt wasn't appropriate or wasn't going to lead to success. Well, how did that work out yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, their record's not a fluke. You
right.
got an all-star caliber point guard in Cade Cunningham. Okay. Mm-hmm. The kid Ivy doesn't get hurt. He was having a very good career year this year. Okay. Your Durant is one of the best big men in the league, rebounding, rim protection. You throw in Stewart, the tough guy. I mean, they got the kid Thompson. He is going to be a stud. So you got 4 pieces that you got through the draft, that you drafted, okay? And they are now key contributors to your success of your team this year. They were on that team last year when they was getting their butts kicked, when they lost like 26 in a row, wherever it was, and the Bulls were running up in them like everybody else was. But I said, watch, in a couple of years, Mark, you were there when I said that?
Yeah.
I said in a couple of years, this is going to be one of the teams, because Milwaukee's going down, getting, with age. This is going to be one of the teams with Cleveland that'll be one of the top teams in the Central Division. And now you're starting to see. They're probably still a year away from really making some noise, but I'm telling you, they're close.
But you have to take those steps and progress toward that, or else you have guys like Bradley Beal saying, "I'm not waiving my trade clause to go there."
Yeah,
that's the respect that you have to have. You have to build in this league to have those star players who are on the trade block want to come to your franchise. But right now, the star players in the league just don't see a reason to come here.
All right, Darnell, I'm going to treat you like a hostile witness because Bulls fans are going to be mad at me. I asked you earlier, are there going to be any more moves before Thursday? And you kind of walked around that question. Give me a prediction. Who's going to get traded by Thursday at 2 p.m. off the Bulls?
I would say Vucevic, if anyone. I think it makes the most sense for the Bulls to find their oldest player a new home where he can go out and chase the playoffs and maybe a championship at this stage in his career. I think he's 34 years old, his 14th season in the league. So there's no point of Nikola Vucevic being on this team at this stage of his career and this stage in the Bulls season in this franchise. So I would say if anyone, it would be Nikola Vucevic.
I got a question for you. Why does it seem like everybody holds the Bulls hostage, like when it comes to negotiations? Seriously, like you see these other teams moving guys, getting first-round picks for certain guys, and, guys being able to move contracts. Jimmy Butler is going to be, guaranteed 50-something million next year. All these teams want him on the roster. They all will trade for him. We'll trade for him. What is it out there, the perception of dealing with the Bulls front office, and why it makes it so difficult to get? I mean, think about this. Alex Caruso, okay? Rumor had it, the trade deadline, they had 2 first-round picks offered for him during the trade deadline the year before they traded him. They traded him to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City's got a whole vault full of first-round picks. And then you trade him there. You don't get a first-round pick. You got Giddey. Okay, I see that. But then Oklahoma City turns around and says, okay, we value this guy so much, we're going to give him an $81 million contract. Yeah. So now you're telling me, when you look at that, Darnell, you got to say, like, what are these teams doing when it comes to negotiating against the Bulls? Are they playing hardball and basically saying, look, this is all we can give you. Take it or leave it?
I think 2 things are in play, at least 2 things. One, other teams are in a position to play hardball because they've seen the last 3 seasons in Chicago and they know what Bulls basketball has been like. Arturas Karnisovas can't hold teams and demand a king's ransom because they know his rivals know that the Bulls are a mediocre franchise and they've been trying to get off of these contracts. And so that gives the Bulls no leverage. The other thing is I think Arturas has long overvalued his players and it just doesn't want to pull the trigger on accepting fair value or fair market value for the players. And so when those 2 things collide, you have the Bulls being stuck in the position that they've been in the last couple of years. And that's why I say, Mark, that this trade that they finally decided to make was a good decision.
Yeah, it just seems like nobody wants to deal with the front office. It's like when you see these other deals going on. I mean, Luka's is an aberration. Now, that was some behind closed doors, shaking the hands, and let's make this deal, because you could have got way more for Luka than what they got. I mean, their teams would have rolled. I mean, Oklahoma City would have traded some of their young players and probably gave you the picks that you wanted for Luka to pair him with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, you didn't even call them.
That would have been scary.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. You didn't even call them. I mean, this is the guy who knocked you guys out of the playoffs. This is a guy that is a difference maker, and you put him along your difference maker. Now you got two guys that you have to worry about, and maybe you have to give up a Williams. Maybe you have to give up, some guys you really don't want to have to give up. But to get something, Darnell, you got to give up something. That would have been a good move, but they didn't even visit that. They didn't even visit that.
You know the Lakers got to get the next great player.
Let me tell you something. David Stern is up somewhere in heaven right now, banging, punching air, saying this deal would never happen if I was alive. If I was down there, this deal would never happen. And it's amazing that they've allowed this to happen, because you go back to that day when the Lakers got Chris Paul and he vetoed that deal. Nope, collusion, no, unfair, nope. And he vetoed it.
Basketball reasons.
Yeah, basketball reasons. Yeah.
Reason they said.
Yes. Yeah. So he vetoed that. You don't see any of that stuff now. It's like, people making deals and all the people are like, man, that's a really unfair deal. Like, how did they come up with that situation? Because when that came off, I thought it was a joke.
I was about to say, were y'all like me? Did y'all think it was fake?
I thought it was fake. I thought it was that that NBA Centel, whatever that thing is, that always puts out. They got me one time with that. One time I thought I said it on air. They got me. So I thought it was real. So I said, I ain't saying nothing till I know it's real. And then
that's
I
the
saw
world
it. I'm
we're in
like,
today.
damn.
You never know with all this AI and this computer generated stuff, man. You just got to be careful.
Oh man, I'm just getting myself prepared right now. This rebuild has been long overdue. It's time to blow it up, and just start developing your young talent. Hopefully you get a top 3 pick. You get one of these top 5 players in the draft this year. Hopefully the basketball gods will bless us like they did the year we got Derrick Rose, that we can get somebody like that. Because Chicago has to be, in my opinion, the big cities, Chicago has to be a viable team in the NBA. They have to be. Their fan base is rabid. The brand is rabid. You got to have them out there with the Bostons, the Lakers. You got to have them out there. So hopefully we draft really, really good this year. I don't know who we're going to send. We need to go find somebody, man. We might need to call MJ and say, MJ, look, man, we're going to pay you a certain amount of money. Just go sit up there on the pulpit.
I know a guy you're pretty tight with named Derek that might bring the Bulls some luck.
Yeah, we can see D. But then if D Rose gets like the 12th pick, everybody goes like, man, why the hell we send him there? Get him out to take his jersey down. No, we need to send somebody. We need to send somebody like that. No one would think that we would send.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I would say MJ. We talk MJ doing MJ. Come on, man. Let's go do this for us, man. We need to get this pick, bro. Because then what? You might have that Patrick Ewing thing where when they're picking the little envelopes, and one envelope is colder than all the other envelopes, then they know that's the number 1 pick. We might need to do some of that kind of stuff, that finagling. Because I say this, I wish instead of having an in-season tournament, they need to talk to me first of all, because I can create a whole bunch of things for them to do. So instead of having the in-season tournament, do away with that. Let's have a tournament. Once we know who the lottery teams are, to eliminate this tanking, okay, have a tournament for those teams. And whoever wins that tournament gets the number 1 pick. You earn the pick. Number 2, second place. Number 3, third. How it goes on down the line.
We got to get Zach back then for that tournament.
No, it's over. We moved on from that. No, I'm talking about you have to earn the number 1 pick and do away with this, like what Washington's doing down there, sitting guys for weeks on the end. Do away with that, man, because that takes away the integrity of the game. But if you brought that in there to their fan bases, because their fan bases, once April comes, those fan bases like 1, 2, 3 Cancun, they got nothing to play for. Okay, but if you threw an in-season tournament on there and you're playing for the number 1 pick, that would be exciting to watch. Going along with the playoffs. You have the playoffs going on, and you put that game on somewhere else. Like you put it on MeTV or something, and have them playing. And then you get the number 1 pick based on if you win that little tournament. Whatever the tournament, how many teams is in it for the lottery, whoever wins it gets it. And wherever you finish, you finish 9th, you get the 9th pick. Sorry. Better luck next year.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that idea, Stacey. It's a lot better than what we're seeing
Yes.
with the tanking and to combat that. I do love it because we're about to see it with the Bulls now. I mean,
Yes.
without Zach and whoever else they trade next, the Bulls have zero incentive to go out there and try to win these last 30 some odd games. And so instead of making it about just a race to the bottom, you could actually implement something like that. And the
Yes.
league is doing so many creative things like that now. Why shouldn't they at least try to
Yeah.
incorporate something
Yeah,
like
that
that?
that would really spice up the game. It'd give each team's fan base something to cheer about. If they knew, like this year started, we got a chance to get Cooper Flag. All we got to do is win this tournament. You know what I'm saying? So you got something to play for.
Yeah.
You know, so
Although the pushback would be the players don't care about the draft.
yeah, but you know what? But you still,
They never care about
if you still gave them some money, you get a sponsor. You
gotta
give them the
some
money like you do in season tournament.
Yep.
And you tell me the NBA can't get sponsors to sponsor, a lottery tournament? Yeah, they could do it. They can do it. So now if you see this,
the player buy-in would have to be the biggest thing. Now that I think about it, Stacey.
Yes, but I think that players who want to win are tired of losing because this tanking creates a losing mentality. When you're losing, getting beat every single night, guys just accept that role like we're not good, we suck, and we have no chance to win, and it becomes your culture. If you're an organization, man, you want to do away with that. You don't want your team every single night. I want you to compete. I want teams to come in here knowing that, we may lose, but you're going to know every night you come in here this building, we're going to give you our best effort every single night. You're going to be like, man, I don't want, like when we had Scott Skiles here, and he turned.
Not even that far back.
Yes.
Tibbs.
Yeah, Tibbs. The whole mentality was when teams came here, guys did not want to play a Scott Skiles or Thibodeau team because they were so gritty, so just so nasty. And they were like, man, it's just no nights off here. Guys didn't want to come here. And that's how you got to change the culture. Because I've always said this about culture, because you always hear this, change the culture, change the culture. Teams want to change topically. Okay? To change the culture, you got to go all the way down to the core. And you have to rebuild from the ground, from the foundation up. You can't just, like Chicago, where you have potholes and they just cover them every year. And then all of a sudden, about the 9th year, you got a moon crater. Cars are falling into the hole now. Okay? Instead of fixing it the first time, and not having to worry about it for 15, 20 years, you just keep putting, road on top of it. So in order to change the culture here, you have to go down to the core and you have to go to the foundation and build it back up and change everything about it. You can't have anything from past. You have to change everything.
Stacey, that's a lot easier said than done for the Chicago Bulls franchise because of the history, because of the ownership group and how they run the organization. It's very much a family-friendly organization. You got people in the organization that's been there for 30 years. And so when you talk about stripping it and getting down to the core, that's a very difficult thing to do for this Bulls franchise when you've got so many people with so much institutional knowledge and have been here and as much a part of the organization as Jerry Reinsdorf at this point. And that's very difficult.
Hey, before we let you go, I see you got your Money Talks hat on, and I need some help. The stock market's crashing. I got people trying to pilfer my Social Security. What am I going to do, Darnell? Stock market's going down. I mean, my retirement account is dying. What can we do?
We've learned in the 2 years that we've been running Money Talks, Mark, that there's always a bull market somewhere, and so we just got to find it, and that's our job, man. We're looking at it, we're examining it, and we're finding them and sharing them with our audience. It has been 2 years that we've been publishing Money Talks, and so we're making progress in helping people become more financially literate and be more empowered with their finances to take back better control of their lives and their time and their money.
Just make sure you don't get hit with a 25% tariff, all right?
There's always an opportunity somewhere, Mark.
Hey, Darnell, we appreciate you joining us, giving us some insight on what the Bulls are up to and what the future looks like, and we look forward to visiting with you again real soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, Dig.
Darnell Mayberry, our guest, the outstanding beat writer for The Athletic. We're going to come back and see if we can find whispers, talk a little Super Bowl, and what we're watching to wrap things up. Welcome back to the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Before we get to the guy who just walked in late, Timmy Whispers, we got some breaking news. Again, we are taping on Monday afternoon. The Bulls have just waived Torrey Craig and Chris Duarte in order to free up 2 roster spots for the 3 players they acquired in the Zach Lavine trade. And our good buddy Casey Johnson has just posted on X that the Bulls think they have some traction in a possible Lonzo Ball trade, which would bring back draft compensation. So stay tuned. Keep your phone handy. Keep refreshing that X to see from KC and Darnell and all the other beat guys what possible moves the Bulls might make before the 2 p.m. deadline. What do you think about the possibility of Lonzo getting traded? I know.
Lonzo's one of my favorite players.
I know.
Just not just the fact that he came back, that no one ever thought he was going to come back. He's just a very, very good player. He does so many things. He makes so many winning plays and winning decisions. You can't underestimate how important that is, especially with young players. If they trade him, it's going to be sad. But like I said, that's above my pay scale. But he is one of my favorite players, and he will be missed. And I honestly believe he's going to get back to that kind of star status he was before he got hurt.
He's only, 27?
Yeah, 27 years old.
Yeah. So keep it tuned to X to follow KC and Darnell and see what kind of moves the Bulls make. Now I want to get to our guy, Timmy Whispers. Also, we should mention that last week we had Lonzo's dad, LeVar, on. So if you missed that episode, check it out. You were in Boston last week. What was going on?
Back at school, because I can't get enough
It's
of
a
that.
hard visual for me.
I'm sure. It's
Whispers with a backpack.
It's hard for me. No, I carry a briefcase. I'm that guy.
All right.
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
a high roller, big shooter.
Oh, yeah, sure. But I did go see Stacey, though.
Yeah, it's Stacey's birthday last week.
Right.
He's celebrating Boston.
So I showed up for his birthday, and you know what he says? No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Just there for the popcorn.
Did he get you the tickets?
No.
Okay.
Guess it wasn't my birthday either.
No. You know how hard it is to get tickets in Boston?
Oh, I'm sure it's real hard, yeah.
But I brought some classmates down. They had a great time. They met Stacey and Adam. And then the one had to make a comment about Jokic, and that just was uncalled for.
What did he say?
Gordana,
Oh.
one. Because he's from her country, and so it's like
You can't repeat it, or
no, just said I think he was a great center, better than you, or something like that. She said it better than that. I'm making it way worse.
better than Stacey?
Yeah, Stacey goes, I don't think so.
Yeah, then she wants an autograph and a hug. I'm like, girl, you get the hell out of my damn face. I'm trying to talk down on me, girl.
Yeah, I said you can't do that.
No, but listen, she's a fan, man. She's
still a fan.
She's gonna rep her boy. I can't. But come on, now. First of all, I'm probably 18 years older than the dude. So it's like, come on now. Come on,
we're just having
Recency
fun though.
bias.
Yeah.
But these people are from all over the world, so they're gonna have their picks.
Yeah.
Whispers, I missed you in our interview with Darnell because I had to be the bad cop, and I'm not comfortable in that role. These guys are making all kinds of excuses and saying, they're doing all the right things. And I had to be the bad cop.
Listen.
It was, everything's been horrendous. Let's just get right to the core of this.
Tell us how you really think.
Come on, you're going to trade to get just your same pick back that you would have had anyhow?
No, but they had to
Did you get
keep
your
the
bag of
rights to
Doritos
it.
comment out? I didn't hear it. I was in the other room, but it was even a bag of Doritos.
No. There was no Doritos.
Or they didn't put the mask on.
Yes.
No guns even required. All that stuff. I can hear it.
Listen, man, America, Whispers may not be happy about what happened, okay? A lot of us are not happy what happened, but at the end of the day, they moved off almost $80-something million on the contract, and they got a $26 million trade exemption, which is huge for them. And then they're able to keep their pick, which we hope we get Cooper Flag. We win the number 1 pick. We got to send somebody to bring in some luck, though. We got to find somebody, because they're sending all these other people to get the 6th, 7th pick every year.
That doesn't work.
No, it's not working.
Not gonna work.
You gotta listen. Go get MJ. Tell MJ, look, MJ, what is it gonna take for us to get you to do this? Just sit up there, man, for like an hour. Get us the number 1 pick.
Good luck with that.
Get us the number 1 pick, and listen, and we'll do whatever you ask us to do.
Maybe I should send you.
No, I'm not going. Don't send me. Don't send me.
Yeah, you're a good luck charm.
Listen, I am a good luck charm. I will believe that. But they ain't putting that pressure on me.
Yeah.
If we go up there and the
They're all
Bulls now,
Stacey's fault.
The Bulls now have the number 18th pick. I'll be up there like,
Wait a minute, there's only 14.
there's only
How do we
14.
get 18?
Yeah, how do we get 18? Like, nah, don't. Hey, America, Hey, listen, I think I would win, but don't put me in that situation. Because if we don't win, I don't want y'all to be mad at me.
Yeah.
And be like, why'd y'all say Stacey King for? Stacey got number 9. Oh, I thought he was going to get number 1.
Maybe Chuck can dance on the
no.
dais.
Hell no. Leave Chuck alone. No, we don't need not sending leprechauns. Not sending leprechauns out there, okay? Unless he's going to wear a green suit and hold a little pot of gold, we're not sending him, okay? We're not sending him.
Maybe that is the trick.
I don't know who I don't know who they should send.
Yeah.
Though. If it ain't MJ, I don't know who they'd send.
Oh, man. So we got the Super Bowl coming up this week. What do you guys – is that an event you look forward to, or has it gotten so commercial and so ridiculous that it's not even that much fun anymore?
Well, the commercials last year sucked.
Yeah.
They were really bad on the commercials last year, but normally the commercials are pretty good.
Yeah.
But the creativity last year sucked. And that's what you really look for the Super Bowl for. It's like, what are they going to do at halftime? What are they going to do commercial-wise so you can talk about it the next day? Or you start putting it on social media. Did you see XYZ, blah, blah? Last year it was just awful. It's like, oh, God. So I just watched the game instead. It's like, oh, in Philadelphia, listen, I'm going to tell you something. If the referees stay out of the game, if they don't call these phantom things that they've been calling, because it's starting to get crazy.
Personal
now.
fouls.
It's starting to get crazy now. Okay, it's
roughing the passer.
Roughing the passer. It's starting to get a little crazy now. Like let both teams go out there. If the Eagles can run the football like they've been running the ball with Saquon Barkley, they are going to win.
And with Hurts.
They're gonna win the game. First of all, their offensive line is tremendous. Their offensive line open up holes. I mean, Saquon Barkley is getting 6 yards before he even gets touched because their line is so good. So if they can run the ball against Kansas City and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, eat up the clock, keep his butt off the field, you don't want to give him a lot of time because he'll put up points. So if they keep that in control of the tempo of the game, they're gonna win.
So Whispers, it's become a big social event. People have these huge Super Bowl parties, and they got all these people, getting drunk and acting crazy and stuff. You can't even watch the game. Are you one of these people that likes to have people at the house and entertain?
Yeah, and get drunk and act stupid.
So Stacey and I can wait for the invitation to come to your house.
Betting squares, everything. I might have to have a party because nothing else is going on. I haven't heard of anything. So
we're waiting.
Yeah,
biding your time.
Yeah, and I usually then buy some furniture right ahead of time so I can get it for free.
We'll hear about it. We'll hear about it on the show.
It next week after.
I had some guys over.
Did you have a party last year? Did you invite Mark and I?
What?
Did you have a party last year? I remember Mark and I being invited.
No. I didn't invite you guys. There was no party last year.
Oh yeah, there was.
No, it's just me. It was just me. That was only me. But you're the one who throws the parties. You're the one who always throws
parties. I haven't in a couple
of
years. It might be time.
See, look. See, Mark. You put the bug in his ear, and he'll be like, "No, I'm not gonna have one." My wife, she didn't want to do it, and Maureen, she said she was too tired, and then all of a sudden we hear there was 25 people over, and then
it's out of control.
It was out of control. Well, and then if you're not there to serve hors d'oeuvres,
I might start asking you for squares ahead
of
time. That's a dead giveaway. Hey, can you want to get some squares?
Oh wow! Yeah, we're gonna pay for the squares, but not even come to the party. We don't even know if we want or not. Yeah, you're a dirty dude.
Well, that pays for the party.
Now you can gamble on everything now. Do you get caught up in any of that stuff?
I do, and Jalen Hurts really helped me out last week.
What was the bet?
Well, because you can do these accelerators. And I like the prop bets on the, especially certain guys. So I had on Saquon Barkley and on Hurts up to 3 touchdowns in the game.
They both had 3 touchdowns.
And I won $5, $10, $15 to just, go up. You're going to get the first one, and then they're probably going to get the second one, but that'll definitely pay for the third one then.
Yeah.
And then if you hit that, then it's a few $100s per guy for basically a $25 bet.
I mean, I've seen some crazy bets, like they're talking about guys getting a tight end getting 12.5 yards in receptions. I'm like, come on now. We're betting on that?
Yeah. But they somehow have this nailed down because when you look at the parlays, which people love, which are always losers, and you think you're so close because it's always 3 out of 4 guys or something like that. Well, that's the whole point. One of them's going to fail in this. I mean, some you might hit every now and then, but those aren't worth it.
Yeah, the gambling is really taking over.
Well, the gambling is taking over. We're here now. Terry Rozier, who used to play for the Charlotte Hornets. Now he's in Miami. His name's come up on the gambling probe. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, it's not going to be the end of that. No. They're going to start finding players doing stuff on the side, and I'm telling you, there's too much money, too much money involved. And so you're telling these guys, not to be involved in any gambling, any kind of gambling whatsoever. But all this money is being made out here. Guys are like,
Well, I heard Saquon put $100,000 on himself for 3 touchdowns this Sunday. So.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. Lies, America. Don't listen to
I'm hoping he put money on himself.
So I got the Eagles. You got the Eagles. You going to be the contrarian?
You know, I have to be, because actually every time I've bet against Mahomes, I lose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll bet for him so you guys win.
You're the first team to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. Never been done if Kansas City wins. Yeah, never been done before. Packers won 3 in a row, but the first one was before the Super Bowls in the 60s.
The AFC?
No, it was just called the World Championships.
Yeah.
And then they changed the Super Bowl for marketing.
It worked out pretty well.
So they're going
the national holiday
turned out.
So they're going for a 3-peat.
Yeah.
Oh, Pat Riley, ching, ching, ching.
Because they beat the Eagles 2 years ago.
Pat Riley's getting ready to get paid if they get a 3-peat. Because
he
got a trademark 3-peat. He's gonna make a lot of money. I think somebody says he can make up to like $80 million or something off just that word alone if they use it.
Smart guy. Yeah.
Smart guy.
Just like get her done. Still paying that guy Larry $16 million a year.
Oh, really?
Certain trademarks. What's Give Me the Hot Sauce pay?
A bag of Doritos.
We're back to the Doritos.
Yeah, back to the Doritos. Man.
We got to get Mahomes yelling that out. Give
Whispers,
me the hot sauce.
I'm glad you're here, because we're going to start off what we're watching with something that's just up your alley. I know you would love this. On Peacock, they have this special 4-part series. This is a 50-year anniversary of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
They have an entire episode, 45-minute episode, dedicated to more cowbell, Christopher Walken. It's unbelievable. You know, they're interviewing everybody about this episode and how it all came about.
Yeah.
And they almost cut the sketch in rehearsal because they didn't think it was going to work. And Will Ferrell talked him into keeping it in. And it became they're now saying it's the most popular sketch in the 50-year history of the show.
Oh, yeah, they sell T-shirts. It's crazy. I mean, everyone knows it.
And Christopher Walken would not do an interview for the documentary because he thought it was ridiculous. He always gets asked about it. He goes out in the street and they're like, I need more cowbell. And he can't stand it anymore.
Really? He gets mad?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he gets mad. He just feels like for all the things he's accomplished in his career, that people, the one thing they remember him for is, I got a fever. And the only cure is more cowbell. You know?
Oh, wow.
Well, they should have done that last year. That was one good Super Bowl commercial last year, is people, doing their imitations of Christopher Walken to him, like parking his car. I got you, counselor. And then they're like, and at the drive-through, and then the one was really good at the end. He kind of was like not bad.
Right.
So,
well, I guess he was kind of irritated that he's the serious actor. He's done all these different roles, and that's the only thing
Oscar winner, and then you get that the Deer Hunter. I mean, come on.
Have you seen it yet? You got to check
More
it
cowbell?
out.
Yes.
What'd you think?
No, then did they do a new skit of it?
No, they did a documentary on how the whole thing came together.
No, I have not seen that.
Yeah,
no, I'll definitely see that. Yeah.
So it's on Peacock. Like I said, they got a 4-part series. The first episode is really good too. They take you behind the scenes. Everybody has to come in who wants to be a part of the cast. They have to do a 5-minute audition on stage, and they show you some of the clips from all these big stars.
I saw some of those on the news. They look pretty fun.
That was really good. So I highly recommend it. What do you got, Whispers?
I just watched Heretic. And
something light,
the thriller,
fluffy.
Yeah, it was that was pretty well done. It was, you don't know what's going to happen, and I mean, they kind of overdo it at the end, as like a lot of shows do. But it's definitely creepy, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, it's right up your alley.
Yeah, creepy.
Stacey's looking for more trade news. You got anything breaking news?
No, really. I'm looking at this lady who slept with 1,000 men. She's trying to.
She's bragging about it.
She slept with 1,000 dudes, man.
How do you reach her?
I'm trying to text her right now. I was like, so that'd be 1,001. Bro, this freaks. We're freaks on this show.
The nice thing is this will be edited out of the Chicago Sports Network.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Mark, when he said, "Hey, Whispers, I got something right up your alley." I thought he was going to go. I thought that was the path.
Wow, I tell you, man. Yeah, there's no more trades. There's not any trades coming out.
All right.
There's not any trades. I'm trying to see.
Why don't you tell us what you're watching then?
Oh, I'm watching Supernatural. It's like 20 seasons of Supernatural. It's a great show, man. Like those two guys in the middle, they're brothers. They have like certain powers. Their father is Jeffrey Dean, that played Negan. He's their father. So they go out they're trying to find demons and all these supernatural things. And they it's different. They have like different adventures every show. It's really cool. It's a really cool show.
20 seasons of it?
Yeah, it's like 20 seasons of it. My son told me, I need to watch it. I'm like, So I started binge watching it when I was on the road because there's really nothing to do in Detroit. but sit there and watch, binge watch Supernatural. So I was watching that for the weekend, and it's a really cool show. Cool show.
All right, Whispers. People are always looking to spice up their Super Bowl parties. How can they get some hot sauce?
Just get online, use those codes. They're actually streaming right across the top of the webpage. You can't miss them.
Nice.
For shipping, we still have them from the holidays, but go out there and use those codes and get some hot sauce and get that out right away. You'll have it in time for the Super Bowl.
Also, get Stacey's signature barbecue sauce if you're cooking out on Super Bowl Sunday.
The Warriors, I'm just saying, dun, 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 dun. The Warriors are trying to make a move to get LaMelo Ball from Charlotte or Paolo Banchero from Orlando. And if you're Orlando,
going after a lot of stars.
If you're Orlando, why would you even do that?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to get in return for those guys? What are you going to get in return for LaMelo Ball?
That's the problem for Golden State. They don't have much to offer because they don't want to trade Kuminga, and all their other guys are either old or not that good.
See, they again, you to get something, you have to give up something. Yeah. And they're not willing.
It's not like they have a ton of picks either.
No, they're not. Well, I'm going to tell you something. They miss Bob Myers there.
Yeah.
Bob Myers, since Bob Myers left, they have not been the same. They got Mike Dunleavy there, but he doesn't operate the same way that Myers does. There's a lot of people still not happy with how they did Klay Thompson. Guy helps you win 4 titles, and you just kind of kicked him to the curb. There's some dysfunction there. And Steph Curry is, he's did one of these things where passive aggressive, like I don't want to be on a losing team. I don't want to be in a rebuild situation. Yeah. But he didn't actually go out and say, go get somebody for me to win. He didn't say that, but that's where he was going.
Whispers, you want to give your address out for the folks who might want to drive by on Sunday?
Sure.
We'll just post it on the bottom of the screen. Cisco can get that up there for us.
Is that Bonnie something?
Well, we hope everybody has a great Super Bowl Sunday. Enjoy the game. Hopefully your team wins, whoever that may be, and hope you enjoyed the show. I want to thank Darnell Mayberry for joining us. Appreciate Whispers dropping by. He had to put out some kind of crisis. We're actually taping this in the middle of his workday. And he was cracking the whip out there and ordering people left and right. And,
wow,
it's something to watch.
See how my redness faded over the past 20 minutes?
The employees are crying.
I thought you'd walk in with a beer after all that.
It's darn close. Or some whiskey.
Mark, the employees now are staging a walkout. Hell no, we won't go. And they're just starting to walk out right now. They asked me to join them. I'm like, hey, this is my best friend. I can't do that. Come on, Stacey. It would mean so much more if you did it. So after this show's over, I'm going out there to march with them and say, we need better wages.
You got to join the picket line?
We need better wages. And our boss is ass. That's what I'm going to put out there. I'm going to be walking around. Tim is an ass. I'll be walking around with it.
They're protesting that the 2 kegs are empty.
We're still friends.
I know. I just ordered some new ones. They're going to be restocked now that I'm back in town for a while.
Well, it's great to have Whispers back. We appreciate you watching and listening, and we'll have a brand new show again next week.
I'll be out there in a second, guys. Hold my sign. I'll be right there.
Until then.
Drive home safely, Chicago BB.
Oh, my goodness. It's only preseason, but I'm hyped, Neil Funk, Jimmy G.